Congressman Marc Veasey of Fort Worth, thank you so much for joining us. Your reaction that Joe Biden he is president-elect and Senator Kamala Harris is vice president-elect.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. I'm obviously ecstatic about that. I mean, it's been a long 4 years. I think especially if you are a person of color or a religious minority, the last 4 years under Donald Trump has been something that I think that we thought we would never see in the United States. We read about, people that talk poorly of people in the history books and what have you, and how people in this country felt very uncomfortable in its earliest years, but never thought that we would have to endure 4 years of that in modern times. And so I feel a sense of relief, and I know so many other Americans do. And not just Americans, people around the world. I mean, they're ringing church bells in Paris as we speak. So, I mean, I am happy and look forward to working with President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, who, of course, is a member of the Congressional Black Caucus and who I know very well. And I think that they're going to do a tremendous job. And I think the first priority obviously needs to be COVID-19. And making sure that we have some real guidelines in place that the American public understands. But then I think the next task has to be bringing the country back together.
Aside from the fact that they got more votes, what do you think was behind their win?
I think that, obviously, I thought that Joe Biden put together a great plan to talk about how we're going to build back better, how we're going to work through COVID-19, how we're going to put real protocols in place, how we are going to get our economy back up and going again. And then, more importantly, I think that he talked about how we're going to end this level of divisiveness that we see in the current president. And so I think that that's what people really wanted to hear, that he needed to contrast himself from Trump on all of those things, and they did it successfully. And I think that was one of the reasons why they were successful and won.
You talked about, ending the divisiveness and bringing the country together. I know it's the heat of the campaign, but at the same time, we did hear, Mr. Biden say, call, the president's supporters chumps and stuff like that. So how does he bring the country together when it's so polarized and when we just came out of a very nasty election?
Yeah, because if you ever have had the opportunity to spend a lot of time around Joe Biden, like I have, he's a very energetic, very gregarious person, and he understands regular working people. And I think that people are going to see his genuineness. I think that people are going to see his ability to empathize. I think that he's going to connect with people. And I think that when he speaks to the American public, even when he's speaking to people that don't agree with him, he's going to do it in a way where people can agree to disagree. And it just hasn't been that way. Under Trump, we had to decide whether we wanted to live in Trump's America or we wanted to live in an America that we thought was, a less divisive, less hateful place. And that was the alternative. I don't think that Biden's going to do that. He understands that he needs to bring people together, and that he needs for people to see him as a uniter first and foremost. And I think that that's what you're going to see the next 4 years.
Let me ask you about because you talked about COVID-19. What are you hoping to see? Because I know there's been a lot of debate about whether he's going to try to have a national lockdown or not.
Yeah, I think that, we need to see some consistency. And there needs to be a level of consistency in Texas, California, Arizona, all 50 states and territories on how we deal with COVID-19, when we need to socially distance, when we want to obviously avoid anything being shut down, but when people need to take those extra precautions and not spend a lot of time indoors, I think that there needs to be just a level of consistency so people know when they need to take extra precautions with COVID-19. Right now, no one really knows. There's no one that can say, yeah, under the administration's plans, when you have spikes at this particular level, you shouldn't be going, indoors to various places unless it's an emergency. Like we don't have that sort of language right now. And so I think that the president-elect, when he puts together his COVID task force, that they need to be very clear and give all 50 states guidance, because there's no need for us to have to shut down if people socially distance and wear a mask. There's no need for our hospital rooms and our emergency rooms to be filled to capacity or overflowing. If we all would go by some simple guidelines that are set by the White House, and that just hasn't happened under Donald Trump. And I think that's the reason why you're starting to see so many of our emergency services, particularly as we move back into flu season, you're going to see them get overwhelmed, as we already have seen them in certain areas start to experience that.
My last question is just about the House of Representatives. It looks like Democrats lost some seats and will not have as large a majority as the last session. And so I'm wondering, what is that going to mean as far as, the administration's efforts to make changes?
I think that obviously, we still have a majority, and I don't think that it's going to hamper us one bit. We have some priorities. The moderates, progressives, blue dogs, all have certain priorities that we share in common that we want to see passed, and I believe that we're going to focus on those, and that we're going to send them over to the Senate and hopefully get them to the White House so we can get them passed into law. Things around COVID, economic stimulus as a result of COVID, immigration reform, just issues like that that are common sense that need to be taken care of, that I think that you're going to see take place with our majority, and we're all going to work well together.
Will you support Speaker Pelosi for another two years in her term?
Yeah, absolutely, I will. She's done a great job leading us this last Congress, or this current Congress that we're in, that's winding down, and she's also did a tremendous job this particular cycle with giving the DCCC all the tools that they needed to be able to recruit and run campaigns. There were just some variables this time around that a lot of people around the country didn't see coming. But again, we held on to our majority, and so I think she deserves another term.
And I'm sorry, I did have one other question, and that was, I thought I read somewhere today in which you were mentioned as possibly running for the head of the DCCC.
Right now I'm trying to work, with the administration on transition issues. We'll see. We have some, leadership races and everything coming up, and but I have to really be able to get through this period right now of transition. I'm getting all sorts of calls about, people wanting to come to DC, and we're trying to find out exactly how that's obviously going to work under COVID-19. I have no idea. So there's a lot that I need to straighten out between now and January before I can even begin to start thinking about something like that.
All right. Well, Congressman Marc Veasey, thank you so much for your time on a Saturday night. We do appreciate it.